Можно начинать разминку.
Practice may begin.
left here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and we can hear the sound out
yes,
there.
And the sound is very loud.
So you can turn it down here. Is that better?
No.
No? Okay. Try. It should be that one.
Yeah. Okay. You hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Good.
Cool.
Увлекается кёрлингом. Кто пришел впервые? Новички, привет! Прямо сейчас я попрошу вас так же бурно, так же громко встретить моего друга, талисмана Универсиады, Юлайку! Здорово! Прямо сейчас вернемся для того, чтобы вы поняли, как нужно поддерживать спортсменов. Я попрошу приподняться вас со своих мест по возможности.
Welcome to the Ivan Yarygin Sports Palace here in Krasnoyarsk, Russia, and the 29th Winter Universiade. And welcome to the curling gold medal match in the women's event. The conditions are very good, as they have been throughout the tournament. The ice is running well, and we are on sheet D for this match between Sweden, the top seeds, and Korea, who have surprised a few this week, but giants. I'm Karen Bashir, and joining me in the commentary box, the coach of the Czech program, Brad Askew. Brad, what do you say about what we're about to see?
Well, we're looking forward to a really great game here. Sweden have had a great round robin. Came up through the ranks, lost a game to the Czechs right in the beginning, I think a bit of nerves, and then getting straight through. So they've got a good record against. These teams have been together before. I think Korea was the last winners against Team Rana, but this is going to be a great final. We predicted Sweden right from the beginning to be sitting in this gold medal game, but we weren't quite sure if it was going to be against Russia or Korea, so here they are.
Well, they're ready and lined up. Fanny Sjöberg leading the way for the Swedes. Isabella Arana is the skip and throws fourth. It's three Kims and a Yang in the Korean team. Leading out with Kim Soo-jin, and Kim Min-ji is the skip, the vice Kim Hyarin. They've had their last training, if you like, before this, Brad. They will, of course, have another couple of runs down the ice. You had a quick look at the ice as they were warming up. What's your feel for it?
Yeah, it's looking like it's running really, really well. It's a little bit straighter than it's been all week. The teams, for perfect conditions, we like about a 5-foot swing, which is the middle of the 12-foot ring into the button. But watching the pre-game practices, it looks like they were taking a little bit tighter ice, just to the edge of the 8-foot. So it's a little bit straighter than it's been over the week. But part of this is how it's going to maintain and how it's going to change during the game. But for now, it looks a little tiny bit straighter.
Well, throughout the tournament, these guys have been busy, coming out before every session with the bagpipes. A familiar feel for those who know their curling.
You know that you're at a top international competition when you hear the swirl of the bagpipes. There's nowhere around the world, from Canada to China to wherever we host top events. This competition always starts, and the medal sessions certainly always start with the sound of the bagpipes. They've been out every session this week because teams are honoured individually throughout the week, and pipe band leads the way out before one or sometimes two teams are singled out for attention and introduction. I wasn't sure if these were Scots who lived in Russia or whether they were Russians who are doing a very good Scottish imitation, but it turns out they're quite a famous pipe band here. A lot of activity on YouTube, so they've been great all week. Very patient. They come in and out and in and out and in and out all through the day.
I particularly like their sunglasses.
Yes, very funky. There's a group in Scotland called the Red Hot Chili Pipers, and they're very much like this, very, very funky, modern twist on piping.
Well, enough of the piping. Let's get back to these two teams. Sweden is coached by Margareta Sigfridsson. They are all right-handed, and they the same rink that won the bronze medal at the last Winter Universiade in Almaty. They came through the round robin, winning 7 of their 9 matches, and a big win, 8-3 against Korea in the round robin. They topped the group. The draw shot challenge saw reared its ugly head. Some of the other teams found out, but Sweden topped that with a 47-18 to come straight through to the semi-finals. Korea, well, they finished the round robin clear 4th with a 6-3 result in the round robin, played off against Korea and had a big win there, 12-5, to come through to the semi-finals. Sweden beat Great Britain in the semi-final, won a big win of 10-2. Korea taking out Russia 7-4. What are your feelings about these two teams? As you say, Korea have beaten this rink before.
They have beaten them. They're a very technical team. Korea is a big power in world curling. Sweden, this has been a great team since they've been juniors. They've played at the very, very highest level. They play a lot of internationals, and they've played a World Cup in Canada. So very, very experienced, and they've looked very, very confident all week. But you're going to get 2 different styles of curling here. A little bit of a European twist and a little bit of an Asian twist to the game. More stones in play. One will be a bit cleaner. So I think it's going to be an exciting game. Ice looks good. Conditions are good. You're going to hear a lot of cheering. A lot of Russian fans in. It's been a great house all week. So, and they've been very appreciative of the curling.
The round robin, is it at all telling that it was an 8-3 and after 8 ends it was a concession?
No, I would
Koreans?
pack away the round robin now. This is a very separate animal. Wins and losses can come from anywhere in the round robin. A team can have a big loss and come in and beat the other teams by 2 big scores the next day. That's just the way curling goes, a shot here and there. So I think this is a fresh start for both teams. They both expect to come out of here with a gold medal, so it should be a great game.
So the lead, 19-year-old Kim Soo-jin from the Korean Open National University, throwing the first rock down the ice in this gold medal match and throwing a centre guard. The coach there, Lee Sung-jun, on the left, looking on, as Sweden lead out with Fanny Sjöberg of, well, she's representing the Karolinska Institute, based out of Stockholm. In fact, she was born just west of Stockholm in a lovely town called Eckerö. Swedes throwing a bit heavier, Brad?
Yeah, there's just a little bit of nerves in the first end. They're just seeing how this goes. They've had a 9-minute practice, but just that first stone when you come out, there's always a bit of extra adrenaline.
Well, a little bit too much there.
So Korea's going to try to repeat that same shot.
Tuck up behind the guard. Kim Soo-jin with her second of the first end here, going for gold in Krasnoyarsk.
This is a bit heavy as well. This is going to slip back behind the T-line.
Swedish skip there, allowed to sweep the Korean rock. Brad, for those of you, those of our audience watching this, perhaps not fully in the know, what's the sweeping for?
Sweeping's probably the most asked about aspect of this game. To minus 16 degrees, down to minus 16 degrees, there's still a microscopic film of water on top of the ice. Sweeping creates heat and friction, which means it reduces the resistance, so the stone will either go faster, will decelerate less, so it goes further, or you can have the stone run straighter if you're playing a hit. So the sweeping she's doing now is to just increase that microscopic film of water so that the stone can't grab the ice and it keeps traveling. So it can't speed it up, as most people think. It can only keep it going or straighten it up.
Well, there you go. Yang Tae now, the second for Korea, 19 years old, also from the Korean Open National University. In fact, all four of the Koreans are from the same place. Teams of 4 athletes throw in pairs, alternating between the two teams. So 8 rocks thrown down the sheet of ice. And the idea is to get your rocks closer to the centre than your opponent's. Only one team can score per end, but it can be tied 0-0.
So Sweden, with the higher ranking out of the round robin, has the hammer in the first end. But so far, they're failing to set anything up. Korea's sitting 2 with a centre guard, so it's looking good for them to keep the score low for Sweden.
And this is Almida Vinkist de Waal taking out the guard. She's Sweden's second. She's the vice, a 21-year-old from Gunnared, southeast of Gothenburg, and here representing the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm. Now, you mentioned the hammer. Why is the hammer so important?
The hammer team is the one who throws the last stone of an end. So it's the last chance for somebody to score without the opposition being able to move your stones around. So this whole game is about getting your stones into position so that your skip has a chance to at least score 1, but hopefully 2 or 3 with their very last stone, either drawing to the button or removing a stone from play. So it's your last chance to put a score on the board. So it's a massive advantage in this game.
Yeah, so big advantage to have the last stone. If you score a point in an end, then your opponents get the hammer. And if you've got the hammer, as Brad says, you want to try and score a minimum of 2. If your opposing team contain you and you only score 1, that's a sort of mini advantage to them. And there are, of course, steals when you haven't got the hammer, but you still get the points.
Okay, that wasn't quite what she wanted. She wanted to clear that front up, but at least it's off the center line.
On to the third here for the Koreans. Kim Hae-run, originally from Gyeonggi. Korea have won silver and gold medals in the recent World Cups, and she's in fact in the team for the World Championships, which begins next weekend in Denmark.
It was an unfortunate shot. She wanted to be in the rings with that one, but it dropped it short, so that leaves Sweden a double guard up front, something they can use later. I have to train my eyes here because the Swedes are wearing dark colour and playing with the red stones, but they've got so much yellow highlight. I keep thinking it's yellow stones.
Yeah, the uniform for the athletes is representative of the Swedish flag, of course. Big weight on this one as well.
Yeah, they're fighting to keep this from over-curling. They need to hit and roll behind the guards. Okay, that was a very lucky mistake. She missed the top one, but at least she got the back one.
On the back foot a little bit, though, aren't they?
Yeah, I think with most first-end games, especially at this level with nerves kicking in, the teams are just feeling out the ice, seeing if it's what they really saw in the 9-minute practice. So I think she probably just didn't give her quite enough ice there, or maybe she was a little bit soft on the delivery and it over-curled.
Koreans looking a more settled here at the beginning of the gold medal match against Sweden. And to some extent, the pressure is all on the Swedes. And they're happy with that.
Yeah, they're pretty much covering up the front here. Not giving Sweden much to work with because they're having to use their stones to tidy up and reposition the Korean stones. So they're not really getting to play the positional shots they want. She makes this double, she's still going to be wide open.
Jenny Avalin, 21 years old, representing Stockholm University.
Nice. Oh. And bounced out the front. We call that around the world. Off one, off the other one, and out the front.
Rana there, the skip. Scoring in, yeah, very unusual, isn't it, for the stone to be sliding down the ice in one direction and then coming back towards the hack.
Yeah, she hit that just too thick and it bounced across the top of the second stone instead of coming into it. So she lost that shooter, but at least she cleared up that side and got the 2 Korean stones out, which was the point. If people aren't used to seeing elite curling, the first name team on the scoreboard always plays red stones and always wears dark-colored uniforms. Bottom team always uses yellow and always wears light uniforms.
뭐가 아직이라는 건지 잘 모르겠어. 라인.
Okay.
gå med efter gadden också. 열어놔서 기다려. 아니 뭐지? 나는 웨이트도 그렇고 가려고 그러는데 좀 말해줘. 아직 11까지 이렇게.
Well, big debate going on. The teams get 38 minutes of thinking time, Brad. How does that work? You want to try and sort of save as much as you can for the end?
Yeah, the reason they brought in time clocks, in fact, they've switched a few years ago. It used to be running time. It's now thinking time, which is more fair. While the team is thinking about the shot, the clock is running, but once the stone crosses the tee line, as it's just doing now, the clock stops, and it doesn't penalise the teams that are playing draws where the team with the hits have an advantage. So they have 38 minutes to play the game. If you run out of time, you lose, no matter what the scoreboard says.
Oh, Isabella Rana, 21 years old, from Vällingby, northwest of Stockholm, studying at Stockholm University. Is the skip for the Swedish team. The Koreans now with their skip, Kim Min-ji.
방금 괜찮을 것 같은데. 조금 더 줄였는데 괜찮으려나? 잡아오면 괜찮을 것 같아. 웨이트 방금처럼 올게. 정으로 맞아야 돼. 라인 먼저? 열하나? 열하나. 근데 8만 서도 괜찮아. 살짝 푸시 있어.
Yeah, they just want to repeat this shot. They're just having a talk about what weight they want to come down with. They really want a nice finish to get tucked underneath that yellow guard.
Well, you can see that she's playing this one pretty tight to the line. A rock not curling quite as much. And what's the weight like on this?
It's just not finishing as much. It's just rolled a little bit to the outside. Sweden will be able to use that, come down with really gentle weight, tap that, and come underneath.
And if they play their cards right here, Brad, they could be on for 2 after this. If,
no, sorry, my mistake. I didn't realise this was last stone. I just lost track looking down at the wrong end of the sheet. So they're going to come down with quite good weight here. Just remove this one. They've got one sitting at the back. If they can come just underneath, it should pass the back one for 2 points.
Well, that is what Rana is going after. Last stone of the first end. She has the hammer.
No.
And after throwing 2 heavy rocks...
It's moving now. It's moving now. They've got to get it past that top guard. Good sweep. Great shot. Beautiful weight, beautiful line. Really good sweeping. That had to be super close to that front guard to make sure she got to the inside, and she got it.
So after 2 heavy rocks at the beginning of the first end from Sweden that went straight through the house, Sweden have come out of the first end with 2 points, and I think they're going to be pretty relieved with that. The hammer switches over to Korea for the second end. Sweden leading at the conclusion of the first end in this gold medal match by 2 points to 0. Lovely takeout there at the end, and there is confirmation after the first end. Sweden leading the women's gold medal match in the curling arena here in Krasnoyarsk by 2 points to 0.
That was a perfect start for Sweden. That's exactly what you want. Come out with hammer and put 2 on the board in the first end, so they'll be really happy with that.
So Sweden to go first in the second end of this gold medal match. Fanny Sjöberg of Karolinska Institute in Stockholm. Whatever happens here, the bronze medal she got at the last Winter Universiade has been upgraded. The losing team, of course, get a silver medal, but they will be going for gold.
Great shot. I think the nerves have gone. That's a perfect shot. Okay, Korea are now going to put up corner guards. They want to go on the offensive here and try to set something up to at least get that 2 back. Keep the game even. Great stone, nice position. Close enough to the rings to be useful. You can still hide behind it and run it back if you have to. This ice is so swingy that if you leave your guards long, you can still get around behind. The opposition can still get around behind them and get a really good thick contact on your stone. So you need to keep the guard in exactly the right place.
Just to talk for a little while about the delivery of the stones coming out of the hack. How's the weight applied to the stone?
There's 4 different elements that make up the final weight of the stone. First of all, of course, is your push with your foot off those hacks, which are the rubber inserts in the ice to keep it from slipping. So you drive off the hack, that's your first generator. The actual speed you do your delivery, the timing that you come out, if you come out quickly or slowly, determines your weight. And of course, the torso, the weight of your body dropping as you extend your body, forces the stone away from your foot, which is anchored in the hack. And the final 5% of your weight is generated with a little positive release as you come up to the hog line, just to keep the stone moving directly toward the brush.
But that's the key thing, isn't it?
The
5% at the end is a small percentage, but it can make all the difference.
It's what's made all the difference this entire week. Less experienced teams without a strong release have really suffered. Catching guards, over-curling, under-curling, but the better teams can control that with that little bit of technical mastery at the release.
Well, the lead athletes have done their job. So we move back on to Deval, the vice, for Sweden, throwing the Red Rocks in this gold medal match. Trying to come between the guards here. And that's worked out pretty nicely. But it shows that even though those guards are pretty close to each other, these athletes are talented enough to find a route through them. Yang Tai, the second for Korea. Looks like she's going for a similar shot to take out the stone just thrown by the Swedish team.
Okay, nice shot. Both teams are reading the ice well. The ladies' game has moved so much in the last few years. You see these girls hit equally as well as the boys. They can throw big weight, they can throw run backs, they can throw doubles. It used to be a quieter game for the ladies, but not anymore. Right from junior level, they're really, really catching up with the men in the shots they can play.
If anything, they had thrown this one a little heavier. Going to tap their own guard, though.
Yeah. She must have turned that stone in just as she released it, because that really moved. She really needed to come into those 2 yellow stones. But it just caught the guard. It didn't look light, so she must have released it just tight. On ice that swings this aggressively, you really have to hit your target. When the skip puts the brush down, that is the target you have to hit. If you turn your stone in and it starts to swing early, the best sweepers even can't hold it. It's going to move too much.
Well, she looks like she's going to try and play through the gap in the 2 guards, which is obviously bigger now than it was before, and try and play off her own stone here. At the same time, trying to take out the red stone closest to the button.
They're lined up nicely for just to pop that red stone out the back. She gets this line right. She might even want to move the stones around a little bit, because they're a little bit dangerous sitting there in a position where you can double them out. Good shot.
So now a stone closest to the button, acting as a little bit of a buffer to that one that's just been thrown.
I think you see if Sweden double this out, there's going to be a hit and roll to the side. Maybe bring both of these guards into play. They're going to try to move things around a bit because they're too close for comfort. One good shot and you could remove everything.
Jenny Varlin, 21-year-old. Going with heavy weight, throwing it hard. Does try the, not a double takeout, a triple takeout by the looks of things.
That's why you don't want your stones together.
Well, she's got an Olympic gold medal. That's such is her talent, Jenny Varlin, part of the Swedish setup in Pyeongchang in Korea last year.
Yes, Jenny's been used a couple of times. Anna Hasselberg is Sweden's great world-class team, world champions, European Olympic champions. And Jenny's joined them a few times over the last season as their alternate 5th player.
Only 4 allowed on the ice, of course.
Yeah, it's interesting the Swedish team don't have an alternate here. The coach is doing a solo job on the bench, not having an alternate sitting next to her.
Coach of this Swedish setup, Margareta Sigfridsson.
Very, very experienced international. She'll be a real comfort for this team if she gets called down from a timeout. She's been there and done it and seen it all. Don't think we need to speak Swedish to know that that's a no. Right off and hope it swings. Okay. Well, Korea has a clean house to work with.
Korea with the hammer in the second end of this gold medal match. And it's the second stone from Kim Hye-rin, the vice.
Korea wanted 2 out of this end. It's really important. This looks deep. They wanted to get higher up and behind one of those guards. But this looks like it's going to come deep into the house. Okay, I'm sure Sweden can see a chunk of that again. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can clearly see it now.
Well, can Sweden come down the ice here and throw this one behind the guard that they set up earlier on?
They would have, that would be a super aggressive move, and they would have to be perfect. Because if not, Korea would hit it, reposition themselves, and be sitting to him with hammer. The number one job now for Sweden is to make sure the stones don't build up. So Korea, at worst, walks with a 1 or a 2 and keeps the game even. Nice shot.
Maybe she was going to tuck that one up. It's very open, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you would have to have the perfect roll. You could either get that from the inside or the outside. So it would have been an excellent shot to get right under that guard. But even then, Korea could come down and freeze on it because it's behind the tee line. So I think this is just going to be a clean end. Korea won't want to be stuck with a 1, so they'll tidy up here.
Yep, so they'll look to, as they call it, blank the end here. No score, but they retain the hammer going into the third end. Kim Min-ji, the skip for the Koreans. A bit of an anxious look on her face then as she released that.
They've got to hold this stone so it doesn't roll out of play. Oh, that's why the anxious look. Oh, now, is it or isn't it? Let's have a look.
They need to
look for body language.
Top. Sweden look happy with it.
It's really deceptive. They're having a really good look. Makes a huge difference if that's in or not. They're guessing that it's not. Maybe from the overhead camera we can get a better look. That looks like it's got the momentum. No, it's I'd say that's out.
Yeah, we can see a clear sight of the line around the 12-foot ring there.
It's a little deceptive because the camera's right over the button, so you're actually looking at an angle underneath the stone. So many times we've called it out and it's actually been in, but that looks far enough out. And the shot that the shot the Swedes are calling are pretty much assuming it's out. So they'll want to come up high above the tee line behind this guard and challenge Korea to get at it.
Well, they started the sweep early in this one.
Nice and close to the guard. This looks like a great shot. It's about position now. Great throw. Yep, that's what they wanted.
So, Isabella Rana.
Now it's Korea's turn to have a look.
Yeah. Isabella Rana having given the Koreans a real headache here. Kim Min-ji with the hammer.
You've usually got somebody on your team that has an eagle eye, and they're the one that's called down to look and see. They're a pretty good stone judge. So both teams have now had a good look at that, but I think it's out.
Well, here we go. Last stone of the second end. The sweepers are staying mainly off this one. Looking to draw between the guards.
They're getting ready to sweep. This looks heavy. I think you're in the back 8 with this one. Yep.
It's gone through, and it's a steal for the Swedes. A single point when they don't have the hammer, and now a big advantage to Sweden, and we're just through 2 ends. So, Brad, as we take a look back through some of those shots here, how important is a steal at this stage of the competition?
Well, at this level of curling, that 1 point could make all the difference. You don't want to let the teams get more than 2 points ahead of you because it's pretty straightforward. You should always be able to put 2 points on the board when you've got hammer. But with this 5-rock rule now, it's a little bit more aggressive. It's sort of a 2-3 point lead you want to secure, which is what Sweden's done. The problem is when one team starts getting ahead, it really limits the shots the other team can play because now they have to really take risks to put points on the board.
So confirmation after 2 ends. Sweden leading by 3 over the Republic of Korea in the women's curling gold medal match. Korea with the hammer, so Sweden will throw first. Fanny Sjöberg from Ekerö, representing Karolinska Institute in Stockholm, releases the first stone of this end.
I had the pleasure of coaching some of these Swedish girls at the World Curling Camp in FISU, Germany. They came for the summer camp, and I was there as an instructor, so that's where I first met them many years ago. And here they are, curling for gold at the Universiade.
And Jeanette Johnson there on the sidelines, the FISU technical director with Scott Arnold, who's here with the International Federation. They've done a cracking job of this competition here, and good on the TV cameras to pick them up. Jeanette Johnson started as an athlete back in 1979. Won bronze at the first Women's World Championships and played many times in the European and World Championships. And was world silver medalist in 1985 when she skipped the team and took a World Seniors gold in 2005. Here now on the other side of the playing field, and she's done a cracking job.
This has certainly been a great event. They've really top class all around. They want this right on the center line. Needs to swing, needs to finish a little. Here it comes. Okay, good shot. So Korea are going to come down and try to sit on that top 4-foot stone. No, just didn't have the weight. Caught that top stone, moved it over. Just didn't get around. So Sweden's going to remove this stone and a little roll toward the center.
Well, the leads have done their jobs here, and we move on to the seconds. Almeida Duval throwing her first rock of the third end in the gold medal match.
Great shot. This is just how Sweden have been performing all week. As I say, they were shaky in their first game. They lost to the Czech Republic ladies, but they never looked back after that. That put the fire in their soul, and they've just had a superb week. Top-class curling.
Much heavier here. Was she trying to pick up the other rock then?
She should have got both of those and rolled a little bit to the side, just off the line. She just over-curled and missed the back one. You can just see there, it came a little bit to the left. Needed to stick to the right-hand side of the stone.
Another big throw here from the Swedes.
Sweden want to keep this free guard zone tidy, want to get the guards out of the way, give Korea nothing to build on and nothing to work with.
So 19-year-old second, Yang Tai, Throwing her second stone now in the third end. We said at the beginning, Brad, we're going to see a difference in these teams playing out right now.
See if she's got the weight for this. Has she got the line? Yeah, pretty good shot. She wanted to move that. It's just a little bit off angle. Yeah, the Asian teams tend to like what we call a touch game. A lot of stones in play, moving things a little bit here, a little bit there. Sweden are just really trying to keep this on the defensive side, keep the house clear, not let Korea build up too many stones, nothing to hide behind. The absolute best result for Sweden in this end would be to force Korea to just 1 point, and Korea obviously want to score at least 2 to keep the game close.
Vilken träff är det på den?
Typ halvträff så rullar du ner själv hit tror jag.
Ja.
Vi kör den.
Ja, japp. Är det clearing?
Japp.
Ja, halvträff.
Tunt på den första bara.
Ja.
Tunt på gult.
Tunn gul. Kan jag köra out här den förresten?
Nej,
Okej.
det blir inte vinkeln bra.
Ja.
Well, a lot of communication there between the Swedish team. Looks like she came out of the hack pretty fast then.
Yeah. They want to clear both these front stones, and if they get the line right, the shooter stone she's just throwing should end up in the rings. Oh, perfect. Just a biter at the front. That's what she wanted. Hit it in the right place, that it just dragged into the front of the rings. That's what the whole conversation was about. Just enough weight to do it.
So from the angle at the back of the house there, Brad, it looked like that stone was out. Look, you can see here, there's clear white there. Now, is that because of the shape of the stone?
It's because of the shape. It's curved underneath, so we can see from overhead it's in. But
we talk about the shape of the stone. It's actually a concave element underneath, and it's actually a rim that touches the surface.
People think that the curling stone is flat on the bottom, but it isn't. It's like an upside-down contact lens, so only the rim of that contact lens touches the ice.
About 6 mil wide?
It's about a 6 mil rim, and it's about the size of a CD.
So any slight imperfection on that rim would make a rock behave in a little bit of an unpredictable way, I'd assume.
Especially when the stones get conditioned over time, that 6 mil, 7 mil rim starts to thicken. More and more contact with the ice, it slows down, gets a bit swingier. So it's something they really, really keep an eye on, is the shape of the bottom of the stone. For those of you who don't know, curling stones are actually made of 2 types of granite. The greenish color that you can see on the top is from Wales, and it absorbs contact. And the blue underneath is from Elsa Craig in Scotland, and it's water impermeable. Nice shot. Really nice shot.
Sweden trying to get a grip hold on this one.
So the whole front of the house is open. There's nowhere for Korea to hide behind, so now they're going to have to use stones in the house to try to build something. They're going to take this center stone out and move to the side and split the house and hopefully lie to, so that Sweden cannot get at both stones at once.
A bit like leaving the 2 back pins in a 10-pin bowling alley.
That's the one. Impossible to get both with 1 stone. So she really needs to keep this apart, but she cannot roll out. She's got to stay with 2 yellow stones in the house, and both of them better than that red at the back.
Good shot, wasn't it? Is it going to go? Is it going to stay in?
This is great, yep. And it's a good line as well, because if they try to remove that, it's probably going to jam on the back one. Yeah, that's a great shot. That stone's pretty safe.
One good shot can make a massive difference. And now it's down to the Swedes.
So what Sweden will want to do here is contact this stone, roll far enough across that it's very near that other yellow stone. So if they get a chance, they might be able to get both of them with 1 stone. At the moment, there's no chance.
Out swinger going, oh sorry, it's an in swinger, but coming from outside to in, and that's just what you were saying, Brad, but it's run a little bit far out the back of the house.
Yeah, she got a bit of the wrong contact in there. She needed to hit a little bit more of the stone to keep that stone high. She caught it a little bit thin and went out underneath. Even if she'd hit it thicker, she could have rolled over and sat on top of that yellow if she didn't actually remove it, and that also would have been a great shot.
So we hand over to the Korean skip, Kim Min-ji.
So if they can maintain this, Korea's guaranteed a 2. They need to split the house. These stones have got to be level. They don't want to give Sweden another chance to remove both. So they've got to get this directly across on the other side of the rings from the yellow that's sitting there right now.
So a delicate accuracy-based shot here?
Absolutely. This is down to the sweepers. They know their job and they must get this stone out of a double position, as flat with the other one as they can, so there's no shot.
So Kim Min-ji does her job, adds the weight to the rock. It's coming down the centre line. Just starting to turn here. The sweepers have been asked to do nothing just yet. The weight on this, well, perhaps a bit heavier than she would have wanted.
Yeah, that's a little deeper. The double angle's there if she can... No, she's just going to remove this. Keep them to 2. If this was a fun training game, she'd probably go for it. But as it stands, she's just going to play safe, make sure they can get a maximum of 2. Still keep Sweden 1 point ahead on the board, and with hammer back.
Rana out of the hack. Releases just ahead of the hog line. Wants this to start to turn inwards.
Okay, good throw. Yep, so now Korea's just got a nose hit to this end. It's worked out well for them. Didn't start out well, but it's shaped up for them to score 2.
3-0 down as things stand, but now Kim Min-ji can close the gap up with the hammer.
So we'll see the same shot, just a nose hit to replace that red stone and sit 2.
Sheet of ice, 146 feet long, 15 feet and some change wide. And these athletes are trying to put the stones with these accuracy shots onto the head of a pin.
Nice shot. Clean, clean is perfect, which means the shot is there. They just want to make sure that nothing gets in the way of the stone. The tiniest little bit of ice on, or a little bit of a hair, or a bit of fabric on the ice, anything can redirect the stone. So they just clean, clean to make sure nothing interrupts the shot.
Well, there you have it, an intriguing battle unfolding here. After 3 ends, Sweden still lead, but Korea have scored 2 now in the 3rd end. A hammer in the 4th will be with Sweden, and this is for gold.
So Korea's got a choice here. If they can steal one and bring the game even, scoring in the 4th end, it's the advantage in this game to have the hammer in even ends, because you certainly want to have the hammer in the 8th and 10th end. So if you go with a classic game, where each team scores in alternating ends, this puts Korea in a good position. So they put up a center guard. They don't want that to slip in the rings, so nice and close. They'd want that a little higher up, but at least it's a guard.
Bite 4.
So Korea will be trying to come out of this end by stealing 1, bring the game level. Oh, little tight, just didn't get around.
13-9. Kolla. Bra där, Fanny.
Du är inte 12 poäng, tror jag.
Okay, so Korea will replace this guard. The 5-rock rule, which is new, means that none of the stones can be removed from that free guard zone, the one after the red hog line and before the top of the rings. If you're in there, you're safe. It can't be removed before the 6th played stone. So the first 5 stones are safe.
And that's changed recently, hasn't it? It used to be four stones thrown, and the 5th could be the guard. Why would they extend the free guard zone by 1 rock?
These teams are so good now at removing multiple stones with 1 that they've moved it up to a 5-rock rule to try to keep more stones in play and build up more. There was too many blanked ends. Teams were so good at ripping out 2 and 3 stones at a time that this has really encouraged a more aggressive game, more stones in play, more action on the scoreboard.
Well, the sweepers stayed off that one.
Yeah, a little wide on that. That didn't quite swing. You don't want to come down to remove a stone and lose your shooter, because it means that the other team don't have to do anything to get it out. So it's really important you remove that stone, but it must stay.
So thin contact, and a picture tells 1,000 words. Yang tight, out of the hack. The Korean second. From Seoul, 2016 Junior World Bronze medalist. Has just split the guards up front there. Was that the plan?
No, she was trying to get underneath it there. I'm wondering if this ice is starting to swing a bit more. The conditions can change throughout the game. The crowd, the warmth, the more the sweepers do, it heats up the ice area. They try to control it within a 1-degree barrier, but conditions do change. This is a long game, 2.5 hours. One of the great skills of elite teams is being on top of that change, just reading that just a bit before your opponents do.
And let's not forget, these athletes are youngsters. But the Winter Universiade, across all sports, but in particularly with curling, is a breeding ground for future world, senior and Olympic medalists.
Yeah, this is a great age range. People will have come out of their junior career, most of them like these ladies with medals, eyeing up. The Olympics get younger and younger all the time, so this is the right age group for people to test themselves on this international stage in this world-class facility. I was speaking to Mark Callan, the ice maker, and I said, you know, if we took these FISU logos off and put Olympic logos up, this would be exactly the same venue, and he agrees. So these are the best of conditions for these athletes to test themselves.
Mark, world-renowned not only for making great ice, but also for training ice makers of the future. He's done that here, the test event. They had a number of local curlers come in and learn how to make ice, and they're here preparing the sheets all the way through this Universiade.
Yeah, there's a squadron of volunteers here who take to the ice as soon as the curlers step off. It takes a lot of maintenance, this modern curling ice. It's very sensitive. Sweden are looking to catch this and roll under towards the center, get in behind those pack of guards in the front.
Well, they missed the guards, and Looks like they've done a pretty good job there. Is that going to tuck up nicely behind the other guard?
They tried to stay on the center line. The sweepers fought it, but it curled a little bit too much. That's why I'm wondering if the ice is just starting to swing a bit more than the skips are reading. Looked like a good weight, but just not quite the line they looked for. It's wide open, so Korea can see this now.
Coming at this from the other side.
Okay, sweepers are on it. This must be... Oh, they're off now.
Swinging left to right as we look down on it. Coming around the guard.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
11. Vilken fart sa du? 11. 11?
법인 것 같아. 몇 나왔는데? 4. 턴 많았어, 이번 거.
They really would have liked to have rolled in with that one because it's wide open now. If Jenny can hit this on the nose and split the house, they're in a good position to score again on this end.
That's Jenny Varlin, a 21-year-old, third for Sweden.
Good. Ooh, too thin. Ooh, that's going to cost them. You really want to, at this point in the end, have two stones split the house. Now Korea just has to deal with that one shot, and it's open. Makes it much more challenging now for Sweden.
Well, you can see they've gone straight to that, coming in between the two guards.
If Jenny had managed to hit that and save that shot, they'd pretty much be guaranteed a 2 by this point in the end. Again, over curled. So they're not taking enough ice for the weight that they're throwing. So I think Jenny's getting called to the same shot again, and sure enough, there it is. Hit and split. So she's learned now, she knows this track, she knows the weight she needs to play. Just caught that guard.
Well, attempt number 2 here for Jenny Varlin.
Okay, that's better. But they had to fight hard. She didn't want any roll on that one. But at least they've got 2 stones split now. So do Korea freeze on that, or do they hit it? Looks like they might just tap it back slightly. If Korea comes down and freezes on this stone, it's going to outcount both of those reds. And if Sweden can't remove it, it eliminates both of those scoring reds with one shot.
Well, that looks like that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
They're going to come round and try and stick to the stone closest to us as we look at the house, the red stone.
I think from the ice they're taking, they just want to move it back slightly. Looks like tight ice for a freeze, so they might want to just bump it slightly back. Here comes the others on the team to have a chat about this, because this is a really key shot.
Thinking time ticking away for the Koreans.
Each team gets one timeout in the game where they put their hand up in a T shape and all the clocks stop, and the coach has a measured amount of time to come down and speak to the team before the clock starts again.
조금만 더. 4초? 인턴 1까지 괜찮아.
해주면.
라인 좋아. 라인 좋아.
라인 만져와 태희야. 라인 좋아.
웨이트 좋아.
라인 좋아 라이야. 라인 좋아.
열어놔. 수진이가.
Looks like she's going to clear the guards here, nice and comfortably.
너무 아시야 수진아.
돌아. 야.
그냥 갔어야 될 것 같은데.
It's a little short of where they wanted.
Yeah, dangerous sweep in between the two rocks as they were getting closer there.
There's still room for Sweden to come down and take this on the inside or even on the outside.
Jag gillar att dra ner och fisa den där.
Här då.
Ja. Där tror jag är bra.
So they could move it if they had to, but it looks like they're going to come down and sit on top of this. Depending on what angle they get and what Korea does next, they may still be able to shift that rock. But it looks like they're going to repeat, just come down on top.
Well, Isabella Rana is very conscious that the Koreans are very good. And she said just before the match that they feel they need to step up their game and play their very best to beat Korea. They are going to try and make their shots. And if you look at the percentages for Rana, the Swedish skip, they're pretty good. 100% on draws.
Sweepers are really working this one. That's why.
Oh, just clipped the guard on the way through. That wasn't the plan. And still, that yellow rock is the closest to the button. It is the scoring rock.
So Korea are just going to come down with a nice controlled weight, push this red stone out to the side and roll over, just like the skip's showing you there. Lied to. Depending on where this ends up, this just gives Sweden a draw for 1 point for this end. So Korea's done their job.
Kim Min-ji in discussion with Kim Hye-rin. Skip throwing from the hack. Device in the house.
They need to get a really good stone position here. If they catch this thin, roll out, or if they catch that top guard, Sweden are on for 2 or 3.
Pressure on. It's the last stone for the Koreans. The hammer is with Sweden in this end. Instructed to stay off it initially, and now they start the sweep.
That's a great shot. That's exactly what they wanted. So that's Sweden forced to 1.
So is Rana going to come down the same line and try and come past that and just stick to the same one?
She'll play the shot that she played the first time, just come down into here for 1. She's got no way to get to those 2 yellow stones. And her red stone sitting 3rd at the back. There's no way to bring that into play unless she removes the top one. So she'll just draw down here for 1. She knows this path, she just played it. She was a little light, so she'll know what weight to throw.
Yeah, clip the guard on the way through here. So trying to come through down the middle line, breaking from right to left as we look at this one coming down the ice, in between the guards. This for a single point in the 4th end of the gold medal match. Clears the guards. Misses the top one and rests up. Job done there by Isabella Rana, getting a single point. Korea, though, will be quite happy that it's just the 1.
It's a little bit dangerous. We always warn in curling about throwing, trying to use the backing, because it tends to make the player overthrow, thinking they've got something to bump into. You should always play that shot as if there's nothing there. Just draw the button like a skip is trained to do. Always a little dangerous. If you overthrowed that, hit it wide, rolled, it could have brought Korea into play, but great shot.
Jag vet inte direkt att ni slutade. Alltså ni gick ju hela vägen. Sjukt bra.
Well, getting some lovely close-ups of some of the technical equipment these curlers are using. Korea contained Sweden to just a 1 point in the fourth end, but the Swedes lead by 4 points to 2. Korea with the hammer in the fifth, and Sweden throw out first. Fanny Sjöberg will release the first rock of the fifth end in this gold medal match.
Korea are really going to want a 2 here. It's a psychological disadvantage to go into the mid-game break down on the scoreboard. So they're really going to want to pull 2 together here, bring it level. So this is a classic start. The team that's leading don't want to leave any guards for the other team to work with, so they come into the top 4 in the house, and the opposition then won't put up a corner guard to try to sort of build some defense.
So for those of you new to the sport of curling, it might seem a little strange. Why don't they just go throwing into the house? But if you keep doing that, knocking out your opponent's stones, it's always going to be the team with the hammer who will have the advantage. So effectively, you just play through to the 10th end. What they're doing by laying up these guards is effectively setting up something to hide behind. They try and put their rocks behind the guards.
These teams playing at this level are always thinking 2 and 3 shots ahead. So they're putting up a guard they can use later in the end. That's the transition from junior curling to international curling. They know a hit won't help them score. They need to build an end with something, either a stone frozen on top of another one or a guard to hide behind. They need to keep their stones safe.
Well, from the look of that sweep there, they felt that one was a little light.
I think that's a little bit too high for that second stone. I think she would have liked to have been biting into the top 12, keep those stones closer together. Nice line, but it's far enough apart that they can still get at that shot in the house if they need to.
94% draw accuracy for Kim Soo-jin. She's playing well. Misses the guards. What's the weight like?
Good shot. That's why that top one, that second red stone needed to be closer, because it left room to come over and underneath. A little bump there. That gives Sweden something to work with to come to the inside of that stone.
Almida Duval there, representing the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm. The 21-year-old is the vice for the Swedish team. An apology there.
Yeah, that needed to come into the house and sit on the inside, just where the Korean skips just put her brush. That's what they were aiming for. That was just short. You don't want to leave guards out front when the opposition has the hammer.
So it looks like they're going to try and come around the other side here. Debate between the vice and the skip, just to get the clear instructions. Yang Tae in the hack and ready to release. So even though at this stage the Swedish red rock is closest to the button, if it's nudged at all, it's going to almost immediately start moving away from the button and act as a buffer for anything that hits it. Now, is this hard enough? Is this strong enough?
Okay, that's a nice shot. It's a real advantage to be sitting higher up, so these 2 stones that are above the tee line are a lot for them to work with. Any contact now on that top yellow stone and that red's gone, so it's in a really strong position.
So the Swedish stone, while still closer is effectively a buffer for the Korean rocks. So now we have a heavyweight. Swedes trying to clean up the house.
Okay, that was a mishit. They really wanted to tidy up the front, give themselves a chance to deal with those two yellow stones, but instead they took their own backing off.
Well, that's just what you were saying, Brad. Tap onto the rock closest to the button, and it's bye-bye for the Swedes.
So this is a good leap forward for the Koreans. They're now just going to try to get set up here to defend that center stone, give them a chance of scoring 2 or more. They're happy to just come around this front guard and sit and show just a bit of the stone sticking out the side. So if they can come around to the center line, it's a pretty good shot, because any contact on that rolls the Swedish stone open.
The one that laid up as we look down, the one that's just at the top of the blue ring.
Okay, she didn't quite get far enough underneath. From where we're sitting, it looked like it was further over, but looking at this camera angle, there's a double set up there. I thought she managed to hide just about the inside of that stone, but she didn't.
So, more big weight here from the Swedes. The rock running faster and truer. One. Oh,
Okay.
Didn't quite clip the second one.
No, a little bit too wide, right over the top of that stone. So I think Korea might try this shot again, but really work to get that tucked underneath. Don't leave that double again.
So just come to a little bit further right of the line as you look down the sheet from the hack.
They just want to hide the inside of that stone because they gave Sweden a chance to use it. So they need to tuck a little bit further underneath here so that the stone, any contact, goes back across that top. Defend that stone in the forefoot.
더 가야 돼. 어디야? 들어가야 돼. 많이 가. 좀만 더. 네. 물어야 돼. 좀만 더. 다섯. 넷만. 좀만 더. 오케이. 자.
Okay, I think that's still, too wide again. They've just put it back in the same place.
So just looking to get that one a bit further to the right as we look down so that it's halfway across the red rock that's closest to us.
In fact, that's a bit of a worse shot because it's a straight run back now, no angle required. Hit on the nose will take both of these out.
Big weight. And it perhaps, nearly went for all three. The second one just bouncing back towards the hack. A spin there, resulting in that rock, that yellow rock, spinning back towards the hack. Down to the skips now. Kim Min-ji, first out of the hack. Must release the stone before she gets to the red line.
Okay, they need a really good result here. They need to get this stone into a safe position that Sweden can't use. Still a little bit wide. They wanted to hit that thinner, roll more underneath and move that red stone wider out to the side.
Well, Sweden now can use the rock that they're just putting their broom over and knock it off the back, out the back of the house and move the shooting rock into the centre. And if they can hide it right up behind these guards, they'll put themselves in a very strong position here. Isabella Rana down the ice. She'll know how important this one is. She's put the spin on it. Now it's about the line and the weight and the contact.
Okay.
Has it gone as far as she would want that one to go, Brad?
No, it was a little bit wide. The sweepers were off it, hoping it would curl. It needed to come further underneath because now the red stones are in the line that the Swedish stones were in before. So this is a pretty straightforward double if she's got the line and weight right.
Well, it sounds like one of the Koreans has got a bit of a nasty cough.
There's a lot of that this week. A lot of traveling back and forth in the shuttle buses from the village to the venue. I had a little trip to the medical center last night to get some decongestant because I didn't want to be sniffling through today, so
I hear the Russian doctor handed you some pretty good stuff.
They're very good, yeah. Those nose drops did the trick. Don't know what it says on the package, but it worked a treat.
His Cyrillic is not up to scratch, clearly, but the doctor knew what he was doing. No snivels in the commentary box here. Well, sweeping hard here. The Koreans trying to get that Swedish rock to roll out further. The Swedes still in with a scoring rock at the moment. And they've got one more to release.
They just mishit that a little. Too full of contact on that second shot. Didn't roll it out.
So just a draw to the centre here then, Brad. Just a nice simple one in between those two Korean rocks.
I think she'll be looking to hit and roll into the centre here. Cut them down. They've only got one stone left, and if she removes this one, the maximum they can get is 2. But if they roll underneath, she's going to have a tough shot. So I think she's going to come off this and roll to the centre behind those guards.
Well, the weight suggests you're right. Coming down the ice, what's the line like and what's the contact like?
Okay, it's a mishit. She really wanted to roll underneath there.
It's like her first shot, basically, trying to repeat that. Roll into the centre. She hit it too full.
She's done enough, though, because they're sitting 2. Korea's having a look if there's any angle there. They're sitting third shot at the front, but it's just a bit too wide for any angle to get rid of both of their reds, and it's very, very risky. If they miss that top one and leave this red one at the back, that's another point for Sweden. It starts to creep ahead 5-2. Sweden know they've done enough to give Koreans something to really think about. Yeah, a few smiles on the Swedish team. They're looking at the angle. That's very, very difficult. It's very steep. It's really important when you play these doubles. This angle is so steep that if they hit the top one heavy, it's going to just roll to the middle, leave the back one still shot. I think they've given up on that. They're just taking their one. It's too risky.
So when you say they're taking their one, they're going to draw down the ice in between the red and the yellow rocks at the front of the house, try and get in that gap.
Yeah, they just need to outcount that back red, and I think they're going to take their one. Because of the stone position at the front, that yellow on the left-hand side, you could hit and split into the house, but it would be a superb shot to make it, which means you use your stone to both move that into the house further and roll with your shot stone, but I can't see the angles from here if that shot's even on. I don't know. They'd have to cut underneath the bottom of that left red.
Well, it's not clear yet whether they are going for the one or they are going to take the higher percentage wrist shot and go for 2. The vice in the house giving the guide for where Kim Min-ji should aim. Critical shot here for the Koreans, trailing 4-2 at the moment. Oh, starting to bite now, but what's the weight like? Oh, that is a disastrous shot for Korea.
That is the last shot you wanted going into the half-game break. That's really going to hurt. The Swedes are really pumped up over that one. They know that that really has swung the momentum of the game. Big, big mistake from Korea.
Too much weight there from Kim Min-ji. And the Koreans have gifted Sweden 2 points on the steal at the halfway point. There is confirmation. Sweden leading after 5 ends, 6-2 in the gold medal match.
Eller att vi behöver gå så mycket för sop. Vi tänker på någon gång, det har varit mycket sop för att vi går tajt på gärna. Så kom ut på kasten och så har vi dem där sen.
Jag tror att
väldigt mycket Modellas pådragningar. Jag tror att ni behöver ha lite mera is. Lite för tajt och gå på full sop hela vägen.
mina inhands också inte alltså, de kallar lite mycket.
Jag tror lite mer än vi tror bara, så det blir bra. Och nu har vi så här, nu har vi en bra poängtavla där vi har bra med marginaler, så vi går på dem hela tiden.
눈이 내신데 아무도 얘기 안 하냐 지금. 나를 찾아야지. 위기잖아 지금 상황에서. 내가 호수아비냐고 맨날. 너희들이 시간을 끌면은 똑바른 얘기를 안 하는 거라고. 그냥 찾아야지. 1엔드든 10엔드든. 너희 넷이서 안 된다고. 얘기하는 사람 한 명이고 너희 세 명이 쳐다보고 있잖아. 얘기 안 하고. 탭 한 명만 누구라도 탭 어때? 이런 게 있을 거야.
Du har sagt bra på det, du har sagt baksidan. Det är där vi har. Så att jag tänker
och sen nöta på, sätta tejperna liksom. Precis. Göra dem senare. Hålla det här fina fokuset.
Ja, men precis. Och så göra det så.
당연히 눈에 보이는 거지. 보이지만 그래도 신중히 해야지.
Vi får liksom, vi inte behöver gå på sopen.
얘네들하고 너희들하고 이런 샤우팅이 틀려. 얘네들은 수비가 좋아. 우리는 없어.
Var det några dragningar som har varit
하라고 안 하잖아.
fått förbi? Kanske bara lite mer marginal.
Ja, exakt. Det känns som att vi har väldigt bra koll på dragspåren ändå. Så det är ganska lika överallt. Och det är skönt så vet jag.
결승전이야. 결승전은 예선 첫 경기처럼 해. 어?
Jävlar. Kör nu. 5 bra till omgångar.
Jävlar.
Welcome to the second half of the women's gold medal match here in the Ivan Yadygin Sports Palace in Krasnoyarsk. We're at the 2019 Winter Universiade, and Well, Sweden got a very, very fortuitous steal of 2 points in the fifth end as Korea and the skip Kim Min-ji threw a very heavily weighted throw through the house to gift 2 points to Sweden, who now lead 6-2. I'm Karen Bashir, and with me in the commentary box, Czech Republic's coach, Brad Askew. Brad, surely Sweden have already sealed this one up.
Looks like it from the scoreboard, but we all know how this should work out. Korea, if they could put 2 points on the board here, they need to hold Sweden to 1 point every time they have the hammer. If they could put 2 on the board, hold them to 1, put 2 or 3 on the board and hold them to 1, they can bring this game level. But the job is all Korea now. They have got to play superb curling. They cannot afford another mistake like that.
Well, it's Fanny Sjöberg to start us off. Korea have the hammer in the sixth. And Sjöberg perhaps just thrown that a little heavy. Conditions of the ice change in the break. Well, they can do.
They can do, yeah. They've got to be sharp when they come out for the sixth end. They've been off the ice for 5 minutes. They haven't played this direction for 25, maybe half an hour. Fans going in and out, all the doors opening during the break. Air movement is fatal to curling ice, so they've really got to be careful.
Typ 1-2 meter kortare blir bra. Du har känslan i dig? Ja, precis.
All through the game, the Koreans have just been putting one corner guard up, then coming into the house. But I really think they need to go for classic 2 corner guards here. They need to have defense on both sides of the house. And at the moment, they're betting everything on the right-hand side.
Topp 4. Kan sega här. Topp 4. Okej.
Ganska tajt linje. Aldrig långt på den här.
Okej. Känns fight 4 ändå. Det är mer halv 4.
Fight 4.
Men japp.
Great shot.
Hade någon en hugg på den?
Nej, jag hade inte.
Oh, here we go. The second corner guard up. So you might be treated here to a classic 5-rock rule start. In the house corner guard, in the house corner guard, and then a tight guard from Sweden. It's picture perfect 5-rock rule start.
This rock just starting to turn now as it crosses the hog line. Well, weight is good. It is a corner guard, as you said, Brad. One on either side.
Okay, so Sweden are looking to just tap that front red back, leave all 3. They need to keep them in a straight line so that Korea cannot remove more than 2 stones with 1. But this is exactly what the 5-rock rule was invented for. 2 guards, 3 stones going to be in the house. A very aggressive start.
Lite långt. Okej. 12. 8-12.
Ja, måste nästan ut på den här linjen. Ja, Jenny.
12. Ja. 12 nära. Ja. 12-8. Ja. 8. 4. 8-4. 4. 10 själv nästan. 10 själv.
Okay, the stone's hanging a little wide. The skip indicated that she wanted to touch that front one back, but it's looked like they've just drawn to the side of it. That's not actually that strong, because with a good contact on this top stone, you certainly remove the top 2 and roll to the side to bring one of your guards into play. They really wanted those in a line up the center.
Yang Tai out for the Koreans with her first rock of the 6th end in this gold medal match.
Okay, a bit of a miss hit there. They should have been able to get rid of 2 with that yellow stone.
Vill ni ta garden eller vill ni?
Jag killar tar den i boet.
Ja.
Är det chappen?
Chappkliring.
I think Korea are really going to have to raise their game in this second half. They're playing well, but they have to kick into high gear. They've got to get some stones safe that Sweden can't get to.
Well, Sweden playing with weight as early as they can. And even though they've cleared out one of their stones from the house, they cleared the only Korean stone from the house.
So Korea will just now try to draw down between these two red stones, and certainly they must hide the inside edge of that yellow stone. They cannot leave it wide enough for Sweden to come down and hit and roll underneath. So she's really got to get a good position here. Halfway exposed is great because if Sweden hit it, it rolls open. But they've got to get this stone safe.
Yang's thrown a 75% percentage accuracy on her draws to this stage.
This is looking good. Okay, pretty good. Would have liked it to tuck under just a little bit. As I say, the ice is a little straighter. Early in the week, that would have swung right under at the end.
Well, remove the guards.
Okay, so Korea are looking to draw. They're going to leave those two red stones and they're going to bring something onto the other side of the house here to try to keep them apart. They've got to keep them level. They do not want to give Sweden a chance to remove both of their stones with one. So they really have to, the sweepers have to be on top form here and bring this stone level.
So drawing between the two red stones. What's the weight like here?
It's going to come up short, so they need to get a good position here. It's not, again, it didn't curl as much out to the wings. It's a little straighter than it should be. They really needed to be second shot with that stone. It's really important. So now they're lying fourth with Sweden 2 and 3. That's really not what they wanted.
Especially with an Olympic gold medalist, Jenny Varlin, in the hack. Looking to remove the stone just thrown by Korea. Trying for the double. And now Sweden have the two closest stones. Korea with two removed in that one single throw.
Well, that was not what she intended. She turned that one in. She was going to try to pick that out, I think. She didn't, definitely. She wanted to get rid of that front one, but I didn't think she intended to hit that one. That should have been a clean shot and roll out with the red. Get rid of that top yellow. Let's see what Korea can do now to try to bring this back to their advantage.
Heavy weight.
They're disappointed in that. That shot stone, that one they just threw, the shooter had to stay in the house. She was really trying for a run-back double there, and at the very least keep both of their stones in the house. Now Sweden will get rid of this Korean stone and be lying 2 and give Korea a real uphill struggle.
Korea with the hammer, with the advantage of the final stone here in this end, but trailing by 4 points
The only thing Korea's got going for them is the stones are in the house, are back behind the tee line, so they can actually come down and sit on top of them and outcount the Swedish stones. So that's the only thing they've really got to build on now. That corner guard is too far over. It's getting a bit late in the game to blank the end. They really need to start getting some points on the board.
Isabella Rana releases Sweden's penultimate rock in this end and removes the Korean rock, the only one in the house. And Korea only have 2 rocks left in this end.
If this was earlier in the game, I think Korea would look to double those out, blank the end and move on. But they're running out of time here. So they need to sit on top of this left-hand stone. Oh, camera's just changed. It could be right-hand stone by the time we come back. Yes, the right-hand stone. They need to sit on top of that. Hope for a miss hit from Sweden and come out of this with 2 points. She's got to be good. If she doesn't freeze this stone and gives Sweden a chance to remove it, they'll be throwing against 3.
And Kim Min-ji's accuracy of 63% throughout the game, not really a match for opposite number Isabella Rana.
Okay, that's not a good sign when the skip comes out to help sweep. Okay, that's probably the best they could have hoped for out of that. Now, Sweden don't need any points, so because those 2 stones aren't locked, they don't care about losing their back stone, so they're going to come down with big weight, hit the inside of this yellow, and spill both of those stones out of the house to lie 2. They also know that Korea can't really afford to blank anything here. They need to start putting points on the board. This is probably the last end that Korea could blank and still think they can catch up these 4 points before the end.
Rana in the hack. Sweden's last stone.
It's a big push. Let's see what happens here. Great shot. Oh, cleared the complete house.
Well, they've taken out everything in the house. So if Korea were going to blank this end, they've been given a bit of a gift there.
Yeah, that push was a little bit too much. A little bit loss of control there. They really wanted to catch that, spill those 2, and leave themselves sitting at least with 1 in the house. So if Korea tried to blank and miss hit, they'd be forced to a 1 if they ended up staying in the rings. You can see from the ice that she's calling that they're going through with this.
Last stone of the 6th end, and a misjudgment from Sweden has opened the door to Korea throwing through the house, as they've done here, to blank the 6th end. Korea keep the hammer, but crucially, they've got it in an odd end. End 7, and they need to score heavily here to close the gap. Sweden still lead 6-2 in the women's curling gold medal match.
오케이, 그 인정해. 내가 많이 약하다 했고 많이 약했잖아 이거. 그리고 끝까지 딱 갔잖아. 근데 너 여기 거의 호감을 다
Samma på alla liksom. Vi har samma smitt på varenda sten.
근데 그게 이번 한 번 실수는 그냥 넘어갔는데 계속 아까도 막 넷도 안 들어가 한 거 있잖아 내가. 그것도 막 8-9 부르려고 그랬었잖아. 그런 것만 조금 줄여달라. 그러니까 한두 스톤 뭐 2-3개 이런 거는 나도 실수하고 얘도 실수하고 너도 실수하는데 거의 브러쉬 하나에서 하나 반 개 실수하니까.
Well, Sweden won't be too bothered about that, will they, Brad? They're getting closer to the finishing line here, leading by 4. A blanked end, not really making too much of a difference to them.
Sweden won't be too bothered. Korea, that's a really hard choice to make. You're coming later into the game. Do you put 1 on the board and only have a gap of 3? Now they're going all in. That's 1 more end slipped away. They really need to score big on this end. If they don't, they're really going to struggle.
So Sweden release first in the 7th end here in the women's curling gold medal match. They lead 6-2. Korea have the hammer, Korea need to score heavy. Sweden put one into the 12-foot. And can we expect Korea to go back to what you referred to as the classic version of the tactics, Brad?
I think you're going to see a repeat of the first 5 stones from the last end. Korea need 2 corner guards. They really need to try to come out of this with a 3. Good shot. It's a nice position. A little tight to the rings. That could have been a little bit higher up. The stones aren't finishing as much, so it's going to be a little bit harder to hide underneath of that and stay above the tee line.
Sweden looking to draw in between the 2 rocks already played and get this one closer to the centre of the house.
Yeah, that first stone they played was a little short, so now they're having to do this in reverse order and come underneath. That's more like where the first stone should have come, so they've had to do it in reverse order. But again, they don't have position on the centre line, and that's really, really important. Korea are putting up a second corner guard here so that Sweden can't so easily clear off that corner.
So 2 guards thrown out on the left-hand sheet, right-hand side as we look down at it now.
So Sweden, they'll put another guard stone out in front. Ideally, all they would have hugged on the centre line, but that's not happened, so they're going to put another one out front, just make it that little bit harder for Korea to use that shot stone on the top of the 4-foot that they can see.
Focus and concentration. Almeida Deval looking for some accuracy here on this one. Past the hog line. Does it bite? It does.
So they've got 3 stones in position, but that stagger could come in handy for the Koreans. Big decision now.
So do they go for it now and try and take out these 2 leading stones?
Sweden are a bit lucky. The way that this stone finished up at the front, if they hit and roll off of it, it's really, really high up in the sheet. So Korea are just going to try to move things around a little bit, make it more advantageous for them.
Yang Tae releasing from the hack. Just clears that one out, sacrifices her stone at the same time. And lots of Korean fans here.
They're really going to have to take a chance here at some point, Korea, because if Sweden just keeps putting up centre guards and Korea keeps peeling them, they're going to run out of stones. So they're really going to have to take a chance, either come under those corner guards or tidy something up with a hit and roll from the centre. Okay, so the peeling has begun. Sweden will try to tidy this up as much as they can, give Korea nothing to work with. She's going to try to come under her corner guard now. She's got to try to bring that into play. Big hope here is that she comes under the, and when Sweden get rid of it, then they can come to the other side.
혜나 뒤로 와야 돼. 여기까지 가자. 라인 진짜 많이 놈이야. 그만 더, 얍. 더.
It's not far enough under. I wonder if this ice is slowing down a little bit, because they're all really struggling to get the depth they want and get the swing they want.
And how much can the coaches get involved in sort of saying to them, you need to throw slightly differently?
There's nothing we can do once the players are on the ice. We're one of the only sports where the coach cannot interact at all, except at designated breaks with the team. Something we're trying to rectify, and something that's done differently in the Canadian slam system, where the coach can talk to the team through the game. That's absolutely forbidden at international level. So you can see here that exposed yellow stone was just a gift to Sweden. There's the Swedish men's team. They know that this is swinging their way.
Well, it's absolutely packed out here in the Ivan Yagin Stadium, a sports palace as it's known here in Krasnoyarsk, and it has been throughout the tournament. FISU have worked with the local curling association and taken the sport around the state and around Siberia. Yeniseysk, 350 kilometers to the north. Minskis, 434 kilometers to the south. Atchins, 173 kilometers west, and Taishat, nearly 400 kilometers to the east. And that's meant that 10,000 children have had a go at curling here.
Front two there and just keep the pressure on. Right now, what Sweden's doing is running Korea out of stones.
Well, just as you say, Brad, looks like we're going to go straight down the middle here with Isabella Arana. Straight back down through their own two reds here. And one think shot now for the Korean skip Kim Min-ji, Lee Sung-jung there on the left looking on, and Kim Min-ji, as you can see, looking to come in between those two red rocks to hit the rock that's been left in the white ring by the Swedes, and then get the angles right to move across to the left of the house and tuck up behind her own guard. Brad, would anything that finishes behind the Korean guard be effective, or is it still too open?
The thing is, you see the skill that these ladies have hitting now and running back stones. If Korea don't get into a good position here, like anything that's hidden behind those red stones, they can run that stone back and remove it. We've seen that happen once or twice in the game already. So This is a really tough shot here for Korea. They've got to try to find something. They've got to roll to the right behind that yellow guard.
Well, here we go. Penultimate rock for the Koreans. Kim Min-ji still down in the low 60s on her accuracy. Sends it down the ice.
You could see right away as she let that go, that wasn't going to... It had to hang wider, catch that stone on the outside to roll out of the way, and just like I said, they just keep leaving Sweden these open hits.
Sweden's just going to take this one out.
This is no job. Yep, they take this one out. Korea's left with one stone. And they pretty much have to put a point on the board here. They cannot leave this. I don't think they'll have an option because I don't think there'll be any way to remove all of these. But they're really going to be forced to one here. And that swings everything in Sweden's direction.
So had to blank the 6th. Here Sweden in the box seat in the 7th. They seem happy with this, and that is why.
Great shot. Sweden are a great hitting team. The simplest shots. You've got to be super technical to get in behind guards, get your draws finishing exactly the right place, but Sweden have the easier job of just removing those stones. It's on this kind of ice, it's once you get your weight and your line, it's quite straightforward to play these hits, but nothing is going Korea's way.
Well, there is confirmation. Sweden leading 8-2 after 7 ends. The hammer will be with Korea. So Sweden throwing first at the beginning of the 8th. That's their first one.
This will be a challenge for Sweden to stay focused because they can see the finish line now, but they have to stay in the game.
Yeah, well, that's what they often say. Getting over the line is the toughest thing.
What's the situation now, 8-2? The Koreans are very, very limited in the shots they can call, and the Swedes will already know what's coming. Korea have no choice. They've got to put up corner guards. They've got to try to draw and freeze. And the Swedes know their game will get easier and easier now.
The corner guards are the ones that sit away from the centre line. The centre guard is what they call the one sitting on the line or around it. Fanny Sjöberg coming down the ice.
This is a classic move. Because the stone is sitting behind the tee line, they don't want to give Korea anything to work with. So she's actually peeled her own stone out, which is a great choice. That's really what they should do. If you give the other team nothing to work with, it's going to make Korea's job almost impossible. The 5-rock rule only applies to the stones out in front of the blue ring and after the hog line, but once the stone is in the house, you can remove your own. And actually, in the free guard zone, you can remove your own. It's just the opposition one you can't remove. So that was a good move to take that stone out of the house. Give Korea nothing to sit on, bump into, freeze on.
Well, they've thrown another corner guard there, the Koreans, on the other side of the house. So now they've opened up the route to tuck in behind either of them.
Yeah, they need to get some luck and get some safe stones, but unfortunately, Sweden's removed that back stone, so there's nothing to work with in the house, and now they're going to try the shot, but coming top of the tee line this time. Makes it much harder for Korea to use.
Fifth stone of the eighth end here. Now's just starting to bite.
Yeah, this is looking a bit heavy. Oh no, it's digging in now. It's okay. Looked like it was moving toward.
They lay up another guard.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing about curling at this level is where Sweden knows that they can see the finish line, so do Korea. And they know now the pressure's really on. They cannot afford to miss anything.
Welcome to the Raduga venue in the hills above Krasnoyarsk in Siberia. There are 10 kilometers of ski tracks. Around 2,000 people have come to support the athletes. And we're having the most wintry weather of this Universiade right now. The ski preparation will be important, therefore, in the snowy conditions. And the athletes excited for this final event in the ski orienteering. But what will the technicians have done to their skis? How will they have prepared them? Well, that preparation can take 8 hours at times as the Russians discuss tactics with their coach.
Mama, привет.
And athletes from many countries here. And they're all up for this final race of the ski orienteering at the Universiade. It's the ladies' middle distance. 40 women from 14 countries, and we expect the winner to finish in around 40 minutes' time. There are the conditions. It's getting colder as we watch, as the day goes on and what little sun there is begins to set. Markku Valkonen in the studio to talk us through the course.
In the beginning, we have a forking, 2 controls before they come to our first TV control, then a joint part of the race until the 6th control, where we have a TV point, and then descend to the arena. Second loop, the forking again in 2 first controls, and then from the 3rd control onwards, the ladies will have a common course. towards the end, and as in men's race, we will have a ski through the arena and then a short, about 3 minutes, a final lap where the medals will be decided.
This is how they line up. It's a mass start, but it's in the finishing order of the pursuit race. So 3 loops, 2 long, 1 short, and the first 2 are with forking. As we look down the 40 athletes competing here in the women's middle distance. And really, it's the ones at the front in this mass start who are amongst the favourites to win. Marina Vyatkina, who's been in supreme form, out in front alongside Mirka Suter.
They can't do something about this strong Swedish team. I suspect Korea will concede. But it's a gold medal match, so who knows?
Okay, once again, it's the same story. Sweden can fully see that. This will be gone in a matter of 60 seconds.
Isabella Rana, the skip, will be in the hack now. And as you can see, they are going to aim at that rock. They won't, as Brad has been saying throughout this end, be worried about hitting their own rock. Although it's so out in the open, they could hit it and still be on for 3.
The best shot here would be if she takes the yellow stone, her own stone off the back, and sits side by side. So there's no way around behind to the button.
Swooping hard early on this one.
Great shot.
Well, look at that. 3 in a line there. Rana, a little wry smile on her face.
She's had a great week. This has been her trademark the whole week, is this hitting. So accurate. And the team can build so much confidence from that because they know whatever happens in the end, their skip will step down and sort it out.
Kind of like knowing that you've got the best goalkeeper in the world.
It certainly is. So much of curling depends the team's confidence on their skip. If it gets messy and there's a room to draw to the button, it's the skip's job to step up, throw that stone to the button, take 1 point and walk away, limit the damage. And so much of this is confidence in your skip, knowing that they can step up and get you out of a mess if things have gone wrong. Okay, we're going to get a timeout here now from the Koreans. They're going to bring their coach down to get as much advice as they can. Do they hit? Do they draw? Unfortunately, he's coming down to a pretty desperate situation.
Yeah, interesting that the teams get some travel time for the coach to come down from the Technica area, plus the thinking time, or the timeout time. Is that because people were taking inordinately a long amount of time for the coaches to get down from the box?
They do change the rules every once in a while, but at the moment what used to happen is the coach traveled down, and as soon as they spoke to the first person on the team, the 1 minute talking time started. They've changed the rule now that if you get down without running, you have to maintain a walking pace. If you don't, then the 1 minute talking time starts immediately, because coaches were jumping over barriers and things to try to get there faster.
To buy some extra time.
So now you've got the whole travel time plus 1 minute. It's how you use it. So a nice brisk trot down without running gives you maximum time. In the old days when you had travel time and you tried to stroll as slowly as possible to give your team as much time and time your arrival to the team at exactly the 1 minute. So what happens is the umpires before the competition will get up out of a coach bench, they'll walk down to the house at the near side, check and see how long that took, give you a little bit of grace time to get your jacket off. Then they do the same thing for the opposite end, and they announce at the pre-event meeting how long the coaches have got to travel to the near end and to the far end. You cannot enter the field of play with your warm overjacket on, so you must take your coat off and come down matching your team. So you need a few seconds to take that jacket off and then walk down.
Well, the timeout's done here. A decision has been made. coach Lee Sun-jun has returned to his seat.
In round-robin play, there's a mandatory 6 ends, but in the playoffs, there's a mandatory 8 ends. So this is the 8th end of the game.
Yeah, of a possible 10, but I think what Brad's alluding to is a concession could be the call here. They've gone for a hit. They've cleared out the Swedish stones, all bar one. And let's see who's sitting closest to the button. I think that is just Korea.
Sweden will just come down and hit this one on the nose. Little roll would be nice to not leave Korea a double and a shot for 2. So I think she's going to hit. I can't see from the brush whether she wants to roll toward her stone or away. I don't know what weight she's called. But to either roll away from them and keep the 2 red stones apart, or roll and sit right on top of it.
Well, Isabella Rana with her last stone, Sweden's last stone. Korea have the hammer, and Korea, well, they need a break. They need a bit of luck. Rana doesn't look like she's going to be offering them anything here.
Yeah, the angle's there, but it's really risky. They really have no choice. They're sitting 3rd shot, which means both red stones have to go for them to score 2.
So is she going to draw for the button here just to save the 1?
No, I think they're looking at the angle here and what they have to come off. They want to hit the top red thin enough to redirect onto the back red and score 2. You can see the smiles in the background. They know how tough this shot is. Sweden, they've left them you can see now that the Korean skip is checking the angle. She's going to come off that center stone onto the back one.
So she's trying to hit the red stone in the white that the brush is on at the moment, exactly where the brush is, in fact.
There, yes.
And then roll onto the red behind their own yellow to knock both of them out of the way. This is a big shot for Korea. You fancy if they get it, they won't go for the concession. This really is to stay in this gold medal match. Good shot, but they've knocked their own rock out. Too much of a connection for the Koreans, and they have conceded the gold medal match. And Sweden do take it. Korea got just a single point in the 8th end. And that took them to 8-3, trailing by 5 with 2 to go. The gold medal is Sweden's. Sjöberg, Deval, Wallin and Rana will be on top of the podium here in Krasnoyarsk at the 2019 Winter Universiade. Stunning performance there by the Swedes, Brad.
Yeah, that was a very, very dominant game. We've been seeing this all week, and all through the week people have been saying, who do you fancy for the ladies' gold? And I think the only name that keeps coming up is Sweden. A few tears from the coach there. They know how much tension's involved in this. Great job by the team. Great job. I feel sorry for the Koreans. They just didn't have anything going through the whole game.
Well, there we have it. Confirmation that Sweden have taken the gold in the women's curling. 8-3. Korea will have to settle for silver in Krasnoyarsk 2019, and we'll see both teams on the podium just a little bit later on. Brad, thank you very much for joining us here, and we hope you have all enjoyed the curling here from the Ivan Yarygin Sports Palace at the 2019 Winter Universiade.
session and medal matches of the women's curling competition of the 29th Winter Universiade Games.
Третье место заняла сборная команда Российской Федерации.
In third place, the Russian Federation.
Второе место заняла сборная Республики Корея.
In second place, the Republic of Korea.
Первое место заняла сборная команда Швеции.
And in first place, taking the women's gold medal, Sweden.
Мы поздравляем команды. Благодарим всех спортсменов за прекрасную игру и яркие эмоции. Уважаемые зрители и болельщики, просим вас не покидать трибуны. Через несколько минут состоится торжественная церемония награждения. А пока вас приветствует оркестр болельщиков Москвы.
Congratulations to the winners. Thank you to all the athletes for performing to such a high standard. The award ceremony will begin shortly, but for now, the Moscow and District Pipe Band.
Дамы и господа, через несколько минут начнется церемония награждения.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a few moments, the award ceremony for the winning teams and prize giving will begin.
Начинаем церемонию награждения победителей и призеров 29-й Всемирной зимней Универсиады 2019 года в городе Красноярске по керлингу среди мужских команд.
It's with great pleasure we welcome you to the award ceremony of the 29th Winter Universiade, Krasnoyarsk 2019, for the men's curling competition.
Медали вручает первый вице-президент Международной Федерации университетского спорта Леонс Эдер.
The medals will be presented by the first Vice President of FISU, Leons Eder.
Талисман вручает посол Зимней Универсиады 2019, заслуженный мастер спорта России по керлингу, технический делегат Федерации керлинга России Ольга Жаркова.
Souvenir mascots from the games will be presented by the ambassador of the Winter Universiade 2019, Olga Zharkova.
За третье место награждается команда Соединенного Королевства Великобритании и Северной Ирландии.
In third place, taking bronze, the team representing the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Team skip, Ross White. Vice skip, Duncan McFadgen. Second, Ryan McCormack. Lead, Robin McCall. Alternate, Luke Carson. And coach, Greg Drummond.
За второе место награждается команда Канады.
In second place, taking silver, the team representing Canada. Skip, Karsten Sturmey. Vice skip, Tristan Steiker. Second, Chris Kennedy. Lead, Glenn Bennett. And coach, Rob Krebs.
Победители 29-й Всемирной зимней универсиады 2019 года в городе Красноярске становится команда Норвегии.
And taking the gold medal in first place of the 29th Winter Universiade Krasnoyarsk 2019 goes to the team representing Norway. Team skip, Magnus Ramskjell. Martin Sisiker. Second, Bendik Ramsfjell. And Weiskit, Gorti Jepstad. Finally, to the coach, Runesten Hansen.
Уважаемые дамы и господа, звучит гимн ФИСУ.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the FISU anthem.
Ваши аплодисменты. Мы приглашаем победителей и призеров на памятное фото.
And now we would like to invite all the medalists for a commemorative photo of the Games.
Дамы и господа, совсем скоро начнется следующая церемония награждения.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next awards ceremony will begin shortly for the women's competition.
Я на скорости оставлю след. Это же Сибирь, значит здесь мой лучший зимний рассвет. И я на все 100 открою синий мороз, вылась, и наша встреча вспыхнет сотнями звезд. Я иду навстречу цели, все смогу, растоплю лед и назад я не отступлю. Со мной рядом все друзья, вместе мы как один, ведь это спорт, снег и энергия вершин. Это наша зима, дышим вместе одним воздухом дыхать. Это наша страна, Сибирь запомнит точно наши имена. Это наша зима, дышим вместе одним воздухом дыхать. Это наша страна, Сибирь запомнит точно наши имена. Эти игры нас объединят, пусть мы на старте, победа, финиша, дорогу нет. Реально все то, о чем мечтаем с тобой. Открой ты сердце мира вместе со мной. Вижу я здесь силу равных и любовь. Я держу за руку друга крепко и вновь. Знаю, что запомню я эти дни навсегда, ведь это спорт, жизнь, мне без этого нельзя. Это наша зима, дышим вместе одним воздухом дыхать. Это наша страна, Сибирь запомнит точно наши имена. Это наша зима, дышим вместе одним воздухом дыхать. Это
Мы начинаем церемонию награждения победителей и призеров 29-й Всемирной зимней универсиады 2019 года в городе Красноярске по кёрлингу среди женских команд.
We are very glad to welcome you to the awards ceremony of the 29th Winter Universiade Games, Krasnoyarsk 2019, for the curling competition of the women.
Медали вручают члены исполнительного комитета Международной федерации университетского спорта, делегат Африканской ассоциации студенческого спорта Малумбетте Ролетте.
The medals will be presented by the FISU Executive Committee member and Continental Association delegate of FISU, Malumbetti Relete.
Талисман вручает первый заместитель губернатора Красноярского края Сергей Пономаренко.
The souvenir mascots of the games will be presented by the first deputy governor of the Krasnoyarsk region, Sergei Panomarenko.
За третье место награждается команда Российской Федерации.
In third place, the team representing the Russian Federation. Vice skip, Maria Komarova. Team skip, Uliana Vasileva. Second, Anastasia Danchina. Lead, Yekaterina Kuzmina. Alternate, Anna Venetseva. And coach, Alina Kovalova.
За второе место награждается команда Республики Корея.
In second place, taking the silver medal, the Republic of Korea. Skip, Min-ji Kim. Vice skip, Hye-rin Kim. Second, Tae-yi Yong. Lead, Sun-jin Kim. And coach, Sung-young Lee.
Победителями 29-й Всемирной зимней универсиады 2019 года в городе Красноярске становится команда Швеции.
And the gold medal of the 29th Winter Universiade Games, Krasnoyarsk 2019, goes to the team representing Sweden. Skip, Isabella Brandner. Third, Jenny Baden. Vice skip, Almeida Deval. Lead, Fanny Schonberg. And coach, Margarita Sigfridsson.
Уважаемые дамы и господа, звучит гимн ФИСУ.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the FISU anthem.
Ваши аплодисменты. Мы приглашаем победителей и призеров на памятное фото.
And now we would like to invite all the medalists for a commemorative photo of the Games.
Дамы и господа, на этом церемония награждения по керлингу завершена.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the award ceremony for the curling competition, Krasnoyarsk 2019.